internet. Welcome to Worldview Everlasting, your favorite YouTube addiction. And this is your daily fix. There's a quote from 2010 that's been making the rounds in the last week in a meme capturing Richard Dawkins airing his concerns about what might happen to society after the destruction of Christianity. Now, this is strange because Richard Dawkins is a professional atheist. He makes his living speaking against Christianity, about how it is not true and about how we should all abandon it. But when comparing Christianity to the other religions of the world that have been in the news lately, he said, "There are no Christians, as far as I know, blowing up buildings. I am not aware of any Christian suicide bombers. I am not aware of any major Christian denomination that believes the penalty for apostasy is death. I have mixed feelings about the decline of Christianity insofar as Christianity might be a bulwark against something worse." Well, that might just be the understatement of the century. From its inception, Christianity has been a bulwark against the darker side of humanity.
This is fact-based.
With the growth of Christian churches, you saw growth in a key idea that has not come to full expression in any other society in history, and that is that mercy triumphs over justice, that the weak and the poor among us are those most deserving of our care, that the humility of a man that understands his weaknesses is more powerful than the pride of a man who does all things well. And while the Far Eastern philosophers have managed to touch on some of these ideas, even the distinction between Buddha's statement, "Do not do unto others what you would have them not do unto you," and Jesus Christ's statement, "Do unto others what you would have them do to you," demonstrates the essential and substantial charity that is built into the Christian condition and idea. Of course, it's not just an idea, it's about a man who rose from the dead. But a society that rejects that reality can indeed live on the dregs of its virtues for a time. But when that time passes and those virtues are abandoned, leaving in their places things like we see today, hyper-narcissism, violent outbursts, lives of entitlement and rage, then I would submit that any atheist worth his salt would need to honestly admit that Christianity, for all of its quote-unquote not being true, has been nothing but a positive influence on society for as long as it has existed within it. I would also submit that many of the reasons for rejecting Christianity in our world today are far more connected to a willful forgetfulness of the realities of pagan religion, its violent history, its proclivity for human sacrifice, and its truly darkened and unreasonable mind. Taking a revisionist history approach to the Dark Ages and blaming a few really radically bizarre decisions of the Roman Catholic Church, or acting as if the Crusades were a preemptive strike as opposed to a responsive attack, simply cannot undo what the scriptures of Christianity actually say, and that any Christian who takes those scriptures seriously will condemn violence in the name of their religion. And there's one more piece to consider deeply: the great lack in consistency in applying the philosophical implications of Darwinism's primary ideas, such as survival of the fittest being the one core virtue of biological history, which, if taken seriously and put into practice as the ultimate truth governing the galaxy, leaves no room for charity of any kind, but instead insists that the weak among us are a burden on society and should be gotten rid of at the soonest possible moment. The bankruptcy of that moral conclusion may not be sufficient to convince you that the universe did not come into existence purely by accident, but it should at least convince you to agree with Dawkins on this point, that Christianity and its idea of mercy is indeed a bulwark against something worse. The question for the atheist is, how do you get off even deciding worse and better in a world without meaning? Nonetheless, a mighty fortress is the Church of the Living God, a strengthy shield and bulwark against all evil, and let us not forget, predominantly the evil that lives and dwells within you, your original sin and your old Adam, which you can know with full certainty was crucified on the cross with Jesus, so that as much as you do feel it press at you, you can take his word, who you are in him, and how you should treat your neighbor. A culture that doesn't want that kind of mercy around deserves what it's going to get. Rock on. Worldview Everlasting is solid, Christian, and free because it is viewer supported. Your monthly gift of $5, $10, or $25 is the reason that we can continue to improve and expand these tools for online Christian outreach and discipleship. To make a one-time donation, sign up for the Lutheran Ninja Clan regular giving, or to find information about how to put Worldview Everlasting in your congregation's budget, click Donate Now.